Give me 5 minutes of your time and I'll share something about life, God, and the Bible. John 6, 8 to 9. Another of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up. Here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far will they go among so many? Andrew hears Jesus' requests about feeding the crowd who have come to hear Jesus teach and heal. He does something about it. He looks around for the food that people might have brought. Andrew takes initiative and does something about feeding the people. Maybe they can find enough food to share around. Andrew takes on the concerns of Jesus and decides to do something about it. He does not sit around and do nothing. We can certainly learn from Andrew about taking initiative in our lives to care for other people. Having found the boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish, Andrew brings him to Jesus. It is just a boy. It is just 5 small barley loaves. It is just 2 small fish. There are 5,000 men plus women and children. Yet Andrew brings the boy and his limited resources to Jesus. We sometimes have the same concerns as Andrew. All we have is 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. Do we have enough resources for the future? Perhaps we are limited in terms of possessions and income. How are we going to pay the bills for the next few months? Perhaps we have enough, but we have a medical illness. How are we going to find the medical help for the situation? Perhaps we have a relational problem in our families. How are we going to live in that situation? Robert lives in South Carolina. He helps in a food pantry. One of the patrons of this pantry is a lady named Martha. Here's the story of Martha. Martha was a regular patron of our food pantry. She had worked as a domestic employee of a local family, but her retirement income was minimal. 4 people lived in her home, which had no central heating. She came to the pantry every other month to supplement her meager resources. One day, a farmer had brought in a supply of squash. The pantry had mostly canned and dried fruit goods for our patrons. So I remember Martha's eyes lighting up at the unexpected fresh food. A few months later, Martha returned to the pantry, this time with a grocery bag full of squash. She told us that she had grown the squash from the seeds she had taken from her pantry squash. Then she said, I knew how to grow things from my early life on a farm. I loved that fresh squash so much that I'd like to share it with others who need some freshness in their lives. It was in every way a miracle of multiplication. Remember, Jesus reassured his doubtful disciples that they could feed with 5,000 by faith, even though their resources were minimal. They all ate and were satisfied. John 6, 10 to 11. Jesus said, Make the people sit down. There was plenty of grass in that place, and they sat down. About 5,000 men were there. Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed to those who were seated as much as they wanted. He did the same with the fish. Jesus gives thanks to God before he distributes the food to all the people. By giving thanks, Jesus acknowledges that it is God who provides the food. God leads Andrew to the boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. God provides by feeding the 5,000 men plus women and children. Amen.